Hello. Woo! Yes. Well, welcome. Yeah, sorry, we are so lackluster. I am so sorry. We are having a bad day. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Emotionally, but I'm happy to be here. This is like a therapy session, kind of, So it's nice to talk to like-minded people and friends. So I'm happy to be here.
Why physically? Have you been trained?
I just didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
Fair enough.
Sometimes I have insomnia, and last night was one of those nights. So I'm like trying to prep for videos for today, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about anything. I have, when you have like brain fog and you can't push through it, and you feel like even words, like when you say them, they sound weird. Like, when you repeat a word multiple times and it sounds weird, like every word sounded like that. I'm like, dude, I just need to sleep. But I didn't.
I don't know how y'all manage that in general, like streaming all the time and doing like content daily and responding to things. Like, I'm like always impressed that y'all managed to give that much of a fuck to be able to do it, like to keep it up. Like, even if I wanted to, I feel like I just don't. I genuinely can't. Do not care about more.
I set a
it's almost
standard
habitual.
very early. I set a standard very early that everyone should expect very little from me, and it's been working very well. And no one's like surprised when they don't get much from me.
I wish I set that standard early on.
No, you gotta lower the bar, man. You
Low
can't-
bar. I
No,
love
I
it.
gotta lower the bar
is-
for sure.
Do as bare
No,
bone as
they-
possible.
It's really daily. Lance, straight up. I've been like watching the surfs, like tuning in, like me in the chat. Like I love me. Lance's stream, and I just be like, and I literally explain to my friends, I'm like, dog, Lance has been on here for hours talking to people about the news, like just consistently. He's been on this just news after news after news. I'm like,
I take Fridays off now. No more Fridays. I've stopped doing
Okay.
Fridays I make YouTube content. I write stuff, and yeah, I do Zen, whatever it takes, that kind of stuff.
I have so
Yeah.
many questions in regards to like avoiding burnout for people that are like daily uploaders or streamers or people that can
Don't use Twitter.
don't use
Yes.
Honestly, yeah.
That's weird. Like, Lance, you're always on Twitter. How do you even?
right, Alex says all of
And,
this.
and I'm the main villain. My God, the past couple of weeks, I have been getting roasted, son, and I have been doing roasting. It's been back and forth. I feel like that meme where it's the sicko, where it's like the guy at the mirror is like, yes, good. Like I feel like that sometimes. I'm like, I'm getting it so hard, but I'm going back, baby. Oh, I'm gonna roast all these trans folks.
little bit of
You know, yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know, addiction, whatever. It's yeah.
I too
Shame
be
on
on
me.
people's heads. I too be on people's heads. I be trying to like it's you see all these like important people and like serious, calm people following you, and it's like, oh, you follow me because my intellectual takes, and I'm really about to go tell this person go fuck themselves.
yo,
You try to like space it out. Like I'm like, I try to like bury. I'm like, oh, I don't want that. Let me cat photo. I was like, see the cat.
no,
Meanwhile,
they knew what they were doing when they got there, so I
Yeah.
think go as hard as you
honestly, I
For
be like,
me, the way that I personally avoid burnout is I just make sure that I don't force myself into any sort of routine that I end up hating. Like there are these times where I kind of feel pressured to respond to every single big political news story, but then I remind myself it's okay to just like talk shit about Charlie Kirk for a video. Like that's fine. Like mentally, you can use that as a little bit of a break, and it's fun. Because like you kind of like, at least for me, anyways, I developed these habits. Oh, am I super loud? Okay, let me adjust that. You develop these habits. Let me move
Yeah,
away.
you're very loud.
That are that kind of put you in a bad space, and it leads to burnout. How does that sound in terms of volume?
Sounds fine to me.
Okay.
So
But yeah, like just don't like, I guess, level your expectations for yourself too. That's kind of my thing, because I mean, politics, it's not just like those of us online, like the influencers, for lack of a better word. Like everybody has brain rot because politics is so rotten in America, you know, like the climate is so terrible. So it's the same for everyone. Yeah, exactly.
People be fighting you to have a take on something. It's like, can you please talk about this? I'm like, if I had anything truly groundbreaking to say, don't you think I'd have volunteered the information? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I might have said it, right? Like, you begging me to say some shit, and you probably not, none of us are gonna love my contribution to the topic. Let's just like, you know what is a thing I get often that makes me want to like jump off my balcony? People are like, and I've seen it like when I launched my show, they're like, oh, Lami, please take some time to talk about your home country, Nigeria. I'm like, okay, see, we back to this. My home country is the Bahamas. Like, I'm like, the first and foremost, second of all, I am not qualified to do the Nigerian news. Why would you ever want that? There are millions of Nigerians, all kinds of experts, Nigerian pundits, and you want me, a bitch who knows nothing about Nigeria other than my daddy is from there, to get, what do you want me to say? I'm like, I don't even, like, listen, y'all, stop.
I mean, and a lot of people want, like, I guess we're going it. Like a lot of people want Black women to be like a mouthpiece for everything, and it's like it's kind of exhausting. I don't know everything, and I shouldn't have to know everything. So like, here we go.
I love
man.
videos.
Thank you. Okay, so this was like a last second choice. I always do nude, and I've gotten so many compliments on this. Can you stop, please? Sorry, my dog is down here.
Can we see your dog?
What kind of,
yeah, can we see the dog?
Look at this.
Everyone's like, oh, doggo.
Mike said, can I see the dog?
Oh.
Russet. She's
Very
6
cute.
months old,
Oh.
and she's a little menace.
How old is she?
Months. Oh,
6
wow.
months.
Oh,
yeah.
6 months. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
what a baby.
She's a baby,
Mhm.
baby.
Yeah,
And
that's a
she
baby.
just went to the vet today, and she's very upset because they had to do
The little butthole thing, and she was very so she's being a little menace, but okay. But yes, but yeah, it's like
I'm not Igbo in the comments. That's you see, not people trying to chin check me about being a knockoff Nigerian, which I am, but you two clearly are not you two are not qualified because they say, wait a minute, Ole doesn't speak Igbo because her dad is Nigerian. My dad, I'm Yoruba. See? You see why you need to stay out my business? Like, you see why you need to stay out my business. Okay? I'm a proud knockoff Nigerian. I know what it is. Right? I stay in my lane. Okay? Thank you. Proceed, y'all, with intelligent discourse. Blair, come through.
Oh my God, I don't have anything intelligent tonight. I was preparing housekeeping for the night. I'm so sorry.
Oh, wait. Before we start, everyone's asking in my chat, Kenny, an introduction. Where can we find your
Yes.
socials?
Oh.
Who are you? Sorry, I joined late.
Hi. Hi,
Yeah, no.
my name's Kenny or Kendall, whichever you prefer. I'm mostly on YouTube, Kenny JD. These days I make a series where I talk about terrible movies, movie reviews in general these days a lot, while putting on my makeup. And I've been told I'm kind of funny, so you might enjoy it. So Kenny JD on YouTube, Twitter. My Twitter's kind of a mess, but Twitter, if you want to get really
Relatable.
a little bit more real than probably is appropriate. If you want to get
That's just so relatable. Everybody's Twitter is not an accurate representation of who they are as a person. Like for me, I am
I
probably the
disagree.
most
It's
chill
the other
person
way
ever.
around.
On Twitter, I'm an animal.
On Twitter, I'm actually pretty much exactly like I am on the internet.
I think I water certain things down for YouTube, weirdly enough, more so than Twitter. I'm just like the basis person I can be possibly in that quick like
Kenny,
character.
you have almost 700,000 subscribers. You are so humble.
I
Oh
told
my
you.
God.
Go check out my channel.
You
Like
missed
we're all
the
small time
fangirl.
right now. I hope you repeat.
You missed the fangirl intro, okay? She
Oh,
was
I mean-
humble. I
All right,
came in and let y'all know what was
No,
up.
it's a lot of fun though, because everyone's really chill over there. So it's like, it's cool. So it's fun. If
All
anyone
right.
wants, and I guess if anyone cares to know, like after I get off of this, I'll be editing Saturday's video. And it was a movie that felt like it gaslit me the entire time. And I was so excited to rant about it because it was very frustrating. If anyone wants to watch it, it's free on Tubi. It's called Say Yes.
Say yes.
Say Yes, and
Look
it's
it up.
awful. And I
Okay.
love horrible movies, so that's kind of the
Okay.
main shtick these days.
Can we get you to react to or review Michael Knowles' student film?
Oh,
Sure.
God. Do we have?
We watched a little bit of that last
Not
week,
doing that.
and I posted a clip of that to my second channel, and it got like 50% dislikes because the conservatives were very, very adamant that they defend Michael Knowles, which was surprising to me. And also the same is true for Jordan Peterson. Whenever we shit on Jordan Peterson, like the fans come out, and it's crazy that he still has so many dick riders. But I mean, I'm not like it's just amusing to see it.
I was considering doing, not that I'm particularly averse to being a bit more I think I'm sure that my viewers kind of know my political leaning. It's pretty obvious. I was gonna do a video. They made a biography of Rudy Giuliani that looked
Nice.
just incredible.
Ooh, is it like
Like-
HBO or?
Him in a
I'm
positive
sorry, I
light or
thought
like a
you were-
negative light?
Negative. Well, not even negative or positive. It's just like his life, and it looks terrible. And I'm excited to just like rip it to shreds because it just sounds like a fun time. It's I want to say it was on like a Lifetime or something. I want to burn it, someone said. This seems like pretty accurate. Rudy Giuliani.
People are asking in the chat, did he marry his cousin? Yes, he did. He married
he
and
did.
fucked his cousin.
Yeah,
yes,
and they
definitely.
show-
He's a cousin
they
fucker.
show-
No question about
They
that.
show
That's a matter of
the
fact.
love story, quote unquote, of how. well,
No.
yeah, they show them, like fucking on the beach, and it's like a whole thing.
Hanging out
And
with the
it's
family on
on the
Christmas.
Nothing like a love
hey.
story.
The list, and I just
How's
haven't
your
gotten
ass?
around to it. Movie.
How's
What
your
was it
mom?
called?
Oh dear.
Can't argue with love.
Rudy, the Rudy
no.
Giuliani story,
Life finds a way.
Rudy
free.
Giuliani story. Okay.
played by James
Alright.
Woods.
Oh God.
And it's apparently free on Prime Video.
Okay.
I would hope you
Right
wouldn't have
now.
to pay for that.
I would hope
You're
not.
right.
I've paid for arguably worse as of just for the for content. What can I say? Like, I think the thing that I'm most ashamed of is that in order to make a video about this very obscure movie from like 2005, I had to buy it, and now it's like in my purchase history, and I'm very ashamed of it.
Oh,
It's for your job. You have an excuse.
yeah.
Exactly. And if anyone wants to guess, I've made a video off of it a long time ago, but it was a movie that Gabrielle Union was in.
I was about to guess it. I was
Yeah,
like, it's the Nazi one. It's the one where she's like mentally ill with the Nazi, and they have them get
Yeah.
wow.
She falls in love with a Nazi in a
Wait,
psych
Rudy
ward.
Giuliani?
No.
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 Well,
Oh, we moved
I
on.
mean,
Sorry.
sorry. Well, theoretically, we could blend in. Speaking of which, she falls in love with a Nazi, and it's like from 2005. So they're like marketing it as this like love that transcends all.
Oh, God.
And it's the worst shit ever. And I wanted to watch it so bad and I couldn't find it. So I had to buy it on DVD. And I was very upset. It was like $5. And I was like, how do I explain this to people? I swear to God, it's not just because I'm like into it. There's a reason we're here. Hello, Bubba.
Oh my goodness.
She's like, I'm making noise because you're ignoring me. One time I was in the middle of a meeting and she started pushing her nose against the escape button. She was very not okay with it.
Intelligent dog.
Yeah.
She's very smart.
Yeah.
Discerning.
Yeah.
So what happened this week, guys? Any news? Anything happened this week?
Well, I have a couple housekeeping things if y'all don't mind for a quick second.
Sure. Yes. Please.
Yeah.
One, I do have our question form up. Two, we have our subreddit, which is officially like in place and everything. Reddit.com/r/the Leftist Mafia. And I just dropped links today for everyone for the Discord server, which is officially operating. We officially have a working Discord server. So
yeah.
Thanks so much for setting that up.
yeah, so we
Yeah, thank you.
so we got that going. I'll put the links for you guys in the StreamYard thing. So that's the Discord. And yeah, come on in, join. We have mods and everything set up and everything should be good to go. And we'll be checking it out and seeing what you guys post in there and everything. So feel free to hop on in. Otherwise, today's topics, a lot of people want to talk about right off the bat. The Lance and Tim Pool situation on Twitter and the Anna Turfy tweet. Those are the top questions right now.
All
So
right.
I got invited to the compound.
Yeah. Let's hear this Lance thing.
Well, I got invited to the compound. It's my first offer. You know, I'm excited. Matt Binder's been there before.
Join the club.
I'm ready. I'm ready to be cleansed. I got way too beanie horny. I'll be honest with you. As soon as like I saw that post that he made, I mean, I was like, debate now. Come on, Skype, Discord. And then like obviously he doesn't want to do that right away. So I'm gonna wait for a proper formal invite. So and at which point I will go to the Tim Pool compound and I think discuss the matter of topics that will be of interest. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it.
Lance, I have to add, don't you ever say beanie horny in the same sentence when you're talking about Tim Pool ever again.
It's quite the setup there because they got like it's like 5-on-1 basically, right? It's like Tim
5-on-1, and
the
you don't, and
stragglers.
Matt, you can correct me, but you don't have access to internet, right? Like you gotta have everything.
I mean,
up here.
you should no.
in the premium.
If you bring you should now that you know you could bring a laptop, which I was not
okay.
informed about.
I would like to do that. Awesome.
But you can bring a laptop, yes. But I would say don't get too caught up in it. I think just go with what you know instead of going back and forth with I mean, obviously if there's something to double check, but I wouldn't like just go back and forth on questions that you're Googling, you know what I mean, the whole time.
Well, but that's how I live my life now. ChatGPT 4. But actually, everything that's coming out of my mouth right now is actually ChatGPT 4. It's just in real time.
They always go down like these super weird rabbit holes, or like bring up like random facts that aren't actually facts. Like this is the issue with a lot of the way with any debate with the right wing is they will just make shit up. And then you check later, it's like that didn't actually happen, that wasn't true, or they misconstrued the data. Like so it's like fighting a wall, like trying to get a point across if they're gonna try and pull some of that shit, which they do all the time. At least Tim Pool does, I've seen. So
I gotta ask you both, David and the rest of the panel. Do you think it'd be inappropriate to also have demands? Because I feel like my flesh is being bought by this, and I'm fine with that. I'm willing to sell my flesh.
What do you mean
but I'm just
demands?
saying,
What do you mean?
Well, I just mean like, do you think I could get a billboard out of it? Like he buys New York Times billboards. Could I get like?
He's not going to give you a billboard.
No,
Yeah, you're not going to get a billboard, Chief.
Okay.
I think that you should be a diva.
All right, well, that's why I
but
asked.
maybe not to
I
that
want to be a
extent.
diva. I don't want to be a diva.
This may come as no surprise, but I don't know who Tim Pool is, what the compound is.
Have we not covered a Tim Pool clip on the show before?
I feel like y'all have been speaking in special terms this entire conversation.
I am so embarrassed because I've been sitting here like, should I know? Yeah, I'm assuming it's the right wing person getting
like, I'm not on that part of Twitter.
This is a reminder to me that there are all these rabbit holes and discussions and debates and fights that happen that literally the vast majority of people have no idea
Nobody's-
exist,
yeah, nobody-
even
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah,
Like Tim
true.
Pool has a massive show. He's had a billboard in Times Square. And
multiple billboards.
you still know
in
who
Times
he is,
Square.
and that just shows us that a lot of people don't know who the hell these people are.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
isn't
it
he
makes
the
me feel
bald
better
man
about
with
the
a
world,
beanie?
honestly.
Right?
Yeah.
He's the
Yeah,
bald
it
guy
does.
with the
I
beanie.
feel
That's
bad.
it.
Oh,
Mhm.
this is why you said beanie horny.
Beanie Man,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
bald
Yeah,
man
no, I
with a
wasn't- I
beanie that's
wasn't-
angry.
What about beanies? What?
He just wears a lot of beanies.
All right, I gotta bring up Tim. I
On
gotta
his
bring up
head.
an image.
And David, should we mention they're called
Yeah.
toques in Canada? We don't have
Yes, they're
beanies
called
in
toques.
Canada.
We don't call them
They're called
beanies here.
toques. Yeah.
They're called what?
Toques is a cuter word. I think.
It's cute, right? Toques.
Yeah, I
have
like
to be
that.
honest. I have to be honest, and I'm so sorry to my Canadian brothers, but that is the dumbest Canadian thing. Like you win in every other.
So much
like-
dumber Canadian shit.
This is Tim Pool.
Like,
Have you seen him?
you have us beat everywhere else though.
You've never
Never.
seen him before.
I don't know this man. Sorry.
Oh wait, I was looking up his social media. I've never.
He has
fairness,
one
Alright, good.
of the largest collection of political channels on YouTube. He's
This
below
person?
Steven Crowder as the biggest political
he?
news person on
Why?
YouTube.
This
Yeah.
person, they go to him for news. So, wow.
Yeah.
He's also a rock star. Who just
He is-
dropped a
he's-
single.
He's a musician too.
Yeah, he is a musician,
Mm.
a Billboard
Not a serious
artist, mind you.
Don't treat it seriously, Mike. You're acting like he's like a real musician.
Well, he made music by definition. He has,
Sure, I guess.
Made a song.
Whatever.
Oh wait, no.
Okay.
He's the dude that made the Nickelback like song, right? Something
Yes, yes.
right? Like this
No,
is real
let's
stuff.
be
A
fair,
political
Nickelback's much
commentator.
better, I'm just
Well,
admitting that.
yes. It's coming together now. I only see memes about this guy. I have no idea what he actually
Oh,
does.
and
Like,
he don't like, and so he don't like Lance.
well,
I guess not.
I
It's not
don't know if
just
he doesn't
Lance.
like me. Well, no, he likes me enough to
happened?
bring me there to the compound. I'm excited. I got all expenses paid. Apparently.
What prompted it, I guess, is the
Oh yeah, he
question.
pays.
I
He
like
pays
that.
for you to go. He completely.
I'm excited.
You don't got to
Break it
spend a
down.
dime.
I need
Tim
like
Pool
a
for idiots. Come
drama-
on. Yeah, let's talk about.
We need
Okay,
a
so we got
drama
it. That's
recap.
that's what Tim Pool is.
Okay.
Now, what is the
All right.
controversy?
Okay, so this is content warning. Things are going to get a little grim. Tim Pool was not always this fucking vicious or vile, but very recently, and this just ramped up. And to me personally, and I think Mike is the other person who identified this, after the Pulse nightclub shooting, he was one of the people who, instead of being like, thoughts and prayers, we're really sorry this happened, that's truly a tragedy or anything like that, was just like, you threw a grooming operation, what did you think was going to happen? Hey, there were groomers there who told you. People were asking for a wood chipper. What did you think was going to happen? Like literal quote, And at that point, I was like, it's not even thoughts and prayers anymore. It's so fucking extreme, It's like when did like common decency or civility or any of that shit just go out the window? And I was just like, well, they were all pedos. So what did you think was going to happen? And like around that time, I just started going hard. I was just like, fuck you, you deplorable fucking piece of shit. And so like I have not put on the brakes on that since. And so I often do get viral clips on Twitter where I'll post shit about Tim Pool. And so he finally invited me onto the show. So I don't know if it's because it reached a certain point. I think it's maybe because right now I'm getting clowned on very successfully by the right for the whole kids don't take puberty blockers take on Twitter, by which I was trying to point out, by the way, if I can just clarify one quick second. The reason I'm saying that is that I think a lot of the right are obsessed and fixated on trans kids. And they always talk about 1 to, I'd say like the 10 category. That's what they like. Won't someone think of the children? It's not won't someone think of the prepubescent teens? Won't someone think of the teenagers? It's always like won't someone think of the children? And in that, like, kids do not get bottom surgery, mastectomies, puberty blockers. It's people who are going through puberty who get puberty blockers, and it's people who, with the permission of a doctor as well as their parents, they may get a mastectomy. Cis women get mastectomies. One of my best friends in high school got a breast reduction because her breasts were too large and it was giving her back problems. None of that is unusual, but you fixate on the shit. So I'm like, kids do not get the things you're talking about. And then they did that at community notes or whatever, like Seth Dillon, all these are like they're hall monitor snitches. Every one of them, all the free speech Republicans, they're all like at community notes, surf's wrong, blah blah blah. I was like, oh, you're all snitching on me. This is wild. All the free speech Republicans, you all became fucking cucked as soon as this shit popped off. All right, so fair enough. All of you are super upset. You're super happy that you got a community notes. I have a community notes tab on one of my tweets, and I think that's what provoked, because it was a quote tweet on Tim Pool. I think that's what provoked it. I think that's what he's like, we can bring him on. He's a fool. We'll get him on there. And I am a fool. Fair enough. But I'm a proud fool. I'll say that.
No, okay. What you said, Lance, was obvious and reasonable. But if you don't use
thought so.
language or speak with the utmost specificity, they will exploit any perceived weakness. They
Meanwhile,
know.
they fucking lie all the time, and it's
Right.
and it's exposed again and again, and it's just like forgotten about like a day later. Like it's just
Yeah.
they'll have crazy tangents. Like Peterson goes on some crazy, Jordan Peterson goes on some crazy weird tangent, and it's like
Talk melting
they're
videos.
They still treat him with respect. Like it's just so the whole conversation. Look, as a cis man, I am exhausted by this anti-trans shit, and I can't even imagine how actual trans people feel about all this. It is it is an onslaught.
No shit.
It is never ending, and it is so fucking exhausting just for me as a person covering it. Like it's ridiculous.
I could not agree with more.
These are the downsides of white commentator Twitter. I don't know nothing about. No, I don't even know most of these characters' names.
You don't need to. It's okay. Don't,
You know,
it's okay. You don't
honestly,
have-
at the end of the day, I don't consider, and people can feel how they want to feel about this, but the right to me are not a legitimate. That's not. I don't see them as people worth like engaging. I don't think there's any merit in what they have to say. I don't think that there's any value in their thought processes. I don't care. They are. That's how I feel about that. So to me, it's like in doing any kind of advocacy or doing the work or saying the things that you need to say to defend communities from being under constant attacks by bigots and white nationalists, these people are gonna be mad. Like, yeah, they're gonna be fucking hot. They're gonna be dunking on you. Yeah, that's all. Like to me, the problem will be when they like what you have to say. It's when if they like what you have to say, that's when it's like, ooh, I didn't fuck that. Like, yeah, but like they're literally
I
fucking
agree.
extremists. The right are a bunch of fucking extremists. All this anti-trans, all the things, they're just extremists. So they're gonna have a problem. Any reasonable thing, it's gonna sound real fucking wild to a goddamn extremist. So fuck them. And in the real world, we don't even come on over to Death Row Records. We don't even know what they're talking about. I didn't even know. I had no idea they was dunking. I didn't even.
I will say, I agree with you in like bird's eye view. The issue is they have an actual impact, and the influence they have is what is pushing anti-trans legislation forward.
Absolutely.
So that's why like we're caught in a situation where you address it and you in a kind of a roundabout way platform it, even though they're more popular than we are. But at the same time, if you ignore them, then they get to control the narrative.
Yeah,
so
I don't think
there's
we should
no
ignore them.
right answer. Like there's no way.
I don't think we should ignore them in the substance. I think y'all should do exactly what it is that you're doing. Everyone's doing. Like I think Lance, you should continue with the message. I just think it's not even worth to me as far as them as individuals. Like, what is the point of taking on the stress of getting in their foolishness? Because at the end of the day, it's a circus for them. They're not in it for any. This is not about principle. This is not about.
No, no, it's content.
Yeah,
it's always content. 100%
this is
content.
foolishness
Yeah,
for these people. Meanwhile, you out here actually care. You actually trying to advocate. You actually trying to deal with this and be serious. And these flipping buffoons got you stressed out and all in the mud with them. It's like them, I mean, as individuals. Like if they talking shit, block these motherfuckers, block all them, fuck all them, la 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 la. But do what you doing. Say what you saying. Keep saying that. That's good. If they're mad, at the end of the day, they only bother to respond to what's worthwhile. If you're truly not saying anything impactful, if it's stupid, if nobody would be swayed by it, they wouldn't even feel the need to try to be on it, to be on you, to be on your head. That's the reason why they're trying to discredit you, So I would take that as a badge of I'm doing the right thing and to continue on with that. So
Yeah, agree.
Sense.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you.
There we go. Period. End of the story.
So what's the next thing?
People want to talk about Anna Kasparian, or I don't know how to say her name.
My.
This turf thing.
There's another one.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have a bit of a debate on this one.
All right, let's debate.
Take it away.
Before we debate, who is that?
Well, let's
Please fill Kenny in.
so let's start with the tweet, which I think we can all agree
So you
is.
was the first tell Kenny who Anna Kasparian is and what the Young Turks is. And
Oh, Young Turks.
Yeah.
Is that like the
yeah,
whole-
so they're like the longest running progressive news show on YouTube.
Right.
They have like 5 million subs, I think, on YouTube, but across like Facebook, I don't know. They have a lot of followers, a lot of viewers, a lot of influence, generally, at least historically, on the left. And to be fair, have sort of been trailblazers in the sense that they have, allowed other people to sort of come up in that space. But apart from all that, so this tweet, which I'm not going to defend the tweet. I don't agree with it. I think the tweet's wrong. I think it's misguided. Let me bring it up here.
It's pretty bad. It's deplorable,
Yeah.
as they would say.
Here we go. So, all right, I'll intro this. So Anna tweeted out, and this is sort of,
God.
this is, as far as I understand, this is unprompted. I'm not sure where this came from, but I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or a person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this shit. So I'm not sure where this, I don't know.
Where did this come from?
I have no idea. It's worth, so before we get into criticizing it, because again, I don't agree with it. People that are friends with her, I will say Emma Vigeland on Majority Report today, good friend of hers, had a really good criticism of this. So I think hopefully people that know her well, I know her a little bit, but not, we're not texting. So hopefully people like Emma are in conversations with her. But I just want to point out that there's a lot of bad faith criticism online over this, like people just blankly saying that she's anti-trans now completely, that people bringing up stupid shit like the Armenian genocide because of the Young Turks, when they have both, first of all, Anna's Armenian, but like Cenk has acknowledged the Armenian genocide like 1,000 times. And anyways, really dumb bad faith criticisms. Also ignoring the fact that based on, so one of the things that went viral, or not viral, but trended after this was the Young Turfs as like one of the examples of how people are calling them. If you search trans on TYT, it's purely in defense of trans people. Like, you're not going to find one video that is criticizing trans people. It's endless content defending, talking about what the right is doing. It's endless. So to try and paint an entire network, and even as Anna, as a turf because of one tweet that I think is misguided, I think is ridiculous. That said, I don't know why this tweet went up. I don't know what the point of the tweet is. I don't know. So a lot of people on the right were like, oh, look at this. Anna agrees with us. And, not to say, guilt by association isn't always a smart thing to do, but the issue is if they're all using your tweet, there's a reason why they're doing that, right? So I think it's important at that point to come out and clarify. Now, to be fair, if you go through the replies, she replied at least to Carrie Lake as one example, because Carrie Lake, a terrible, person who ran in Arizona, pretends she won the election. She replied saying like a broken clock's right twice a day. Anna replied to her being like, you're a piece of shit. So she's responding to some of these terrible people and being like, hey, I'm not on your side. But at this point, if I was in her position, I tweeted something that was misguided, stupid, I would come out and apologize. As far as I've seen, that hasn't happened. I don't.
So, David, I posted a link in our private chat. She actually just addressed this on the TYT main show briefly. So I'm friends with Anna Kasparian, and I was kind of going back and forth with her publicly. I also reached out privately, and she kind of references this in that. And so if you want to play that, then I'll kind of explain to you like my take and the way that I approach this with her, because I agree that it's completely unfair to label her as anti-trans. Having said that, though, the tweet was really bad and it bothered me, and I privately explained this to Anna Kasparian, but this is her addressing it, and then we can kind of go.
You're still really, really loud, by the way, Mike.
Am I really? Okay. Let me adjust
Mike,
that again.
you're fine. Lance, you're super loud.
Yeah, you got super loud.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I'll turn myself down too. Okay.
If you guys turn on automatic volume, it should in the settings on StreamYard.
I'm gonna do that.
Work. That's what.
If you guys take that little bar and bring it all the way down, so there's no blue whatsoever in the little.
Got it. All right, we're good. I got it.
All right, let's play this.
C. Zerkley wrote in, I love TYT, but I'm kind of tired of getting the vibe from Anna, and even Cenk at times, that my plight as a trans man who could get preggers if raped offends her because she feels like birthing persons is offensive.
So let me.
By the way, we should explain as well before even that birthing person is not used on a regular basis. This is not a thing that people say it's only ever used in medical terminology. As an example, quickly before I show Anna's video here, this is a good example of that. So this is how the media has covered this stuff. This is the Atlantic, not even, I mean, they're right wing, but they're not like, Fox News. The culture war over pregnant people, and they're basically criticizing this. So but it's based off of stuff like this. So the White House blueprint for addressing the maternal health crisis. So the right, jumped on this. Oh my God, they used the word pregnant people 3 times, use women 230 times. Like they only use pregnant people in relation to when it's necessary, when it's discussing certain issues around pregnancy, right? Like, so this is a complete non-issue. It's a complete non-issue, and no one's calling Anna or anybody else a birthing person in an everyday conversation. That isn't happening. So
the only time I've heard someone try to use it, it's usually in addition to. It's like, hey, by the way, can you please include birthing?
Exactly.
Not erase women. Like, obviously, this affects half the population.
And therein lies. And therein lies the fundamental problem and the true issue with what she said and that she said it. Because at the end of the day, she knows as well as we all know, as people who are all dealing with the news, that the trans community is under literally constant attack all around the country illegally. That is reality. She knows that. She knows that they are a political, right now, the Republicans are using the trans community as a political scapegoat for all of their bigotry and to come after tooth and nail, and there are real dangers to that. And as you pointed out, David, yes, they have covered many, many, many trans issues and stuff, so they know better. They are more aware than anybody what that community is facing. So to come out with what is a non-fucking issue, it's something that leans into right-wing talking points to give them at a time when a bunch of people are looking to legitimize their transphobia and legitimize this bigotry. So they are clamoring for people who they, especially people they like, people who they trust or whatever, to have these things that endorse that. And you see that because all in the comments, you see people in our comments right now in this live chat being like, oh, what's wrong? And that's right. And she should be able and blah. And that's the fucking problem. And that's how it starts. And that is the larger problem, because at the end of the day, no one is stopping you from being a woman.
A woman.
Nothing. And let's talk about language, what language is for. If I'm talking to Black men, but I'm in a room with just Black men, I would say men. But if I'm in a room with all men and I'm talking to Black men, I would say Black men. That's how you distinguish who you were talking about. That does not make them less men. No other time is a distinguisher, a descriptor used to somehow dehumanize you, your personhood. This is a fictitious fucking issue. You know that you can call yourself a woman, which is why you proudly got up and said, I am a woman on Twitter. And you are surprised. You seem to be surprised that you're getting cooked, which says that you know that what you were saying, ultimately, you feel like I am a woman is not inherently a controversial statement. You could say that it's the rest of that shit. It's silliness. And like, listen, I don't think, I put out a video, whatever, discussing, and I did not say Anna Kasparian's name. I mentioned a tweet, I didn't say nothing, whatever, because I don't believe in jumping on or, diminishing the whole person's thing or being in some spot with the person I like. Anna has been nice enough to me. We are mutuals. I've done an interview with them. She is nice enough. People have different views. They have the right to evolve, yada, yada, yada. She's done good things, etc. But I think this is incredibly problematic. And I do think she deserves not to be dogpiled or to be personally attacked or to have her entire track record dismissed or to be called a TERF, although I am not a trans person, so I am not in a position of authority to say what they can determine is transphobia, what makes you a TERF or any. I'm not qualified to say that. But as far as feeling like, hey, this is incredibly fucking irresponsible and you did not need to do it, and importantly, I think the fact that wasn't even the discourse, it was out of nowhere. You already know that that's what they do with the trans community. They use it to distract from a million other things. So for you to come in and start the conversation of distraction is so problematic and unnecessary. So I didn't like that. But I like Anna enough. No shade on Anna, and I think she's a fabulous looking white lady. She'd be very popular.
I think maybe this might be a good situation in which I am, by proxy of not being super familiar with Anna. Like I've seen like clips of her off of the Turks or whatever, but I think because of that, maybe I'm looking at this a lot more neutrally, perhaps. And maybe because of that, my response is perhaps going to be a bit more poignant. I'm a Capricorn. I'm not really good at going around the so I think it's really concerning. I think the thing that gets me most is the aspect of her saying it unprovoked, which leads me to believe like you feel specifically offended by the inclusionary language that you talk about, presumably, you know, in defense of trans people. Suddenly, when they're included within you, there seems to be this kind of aversion, like I'm being erased, which is inherently a turf standpoint, no? So that's why people are calling you that. You may not necessarily identify with that, but again, unprovoked, you feel like you have to assert this thing as if it's being erased, and it's not. So the fact that you think it's being erased, I understand why people that, again, kind of look at you as a person who is spearheading conversation around protecting trans people and protecting and kind of talking about all of the horrible things that are going on in regards to legislation that's literally trying to kill and destroy the entire trans community. When you are that person that suddenly feels like, by the way, though, just so you know, I'm a woman, and it's like, huh? No one said you weren't. So it does give this kind of like undertone of like, why did you feel that was the fact that you said it is actually more concerning to me than whether or not, you know, if you were to say apologize, say it was misguided. But if being that you are so knowledgeable of the things that are going on and said it anyway, I can get why she's probably getting cooked.
I will say
more
why,
than the average person.
I will say, without knowing, I think this is what her intention is. The Young Turks, especially more recently, they really try and talk to people who have been taken in by right-wing propaganda. So my feeling on this is it was simply an attempt to try and relate to some people who don't know enough about that terminology, are put off by it, and maybe grab them in a way to be like, oh, look, maybe I'll check out what Anna has to say on whatever, on other issues, because she's saying this. I don't think that's
by adopting that position.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it's a good strategy. I don't think it makes any sense. But I think that's if there's any intention there, that's what the intention is, because ultimately it doesn't make sense considering their content.
I like Anna, but she came out on some righteous, indignant white woman shit. She did. That's what that tweet. That's 190%.
It felt very like I'm not being included. Why?
Right, and you know that I saw like another video that spawned off. I seen another thing, and this person was like, "Oh, you know, why am I being erased? I feel disrespect." Oh, this is insane. This is the problem I think with when like we don't really talk about like white nationalism and the problem with like our like power structures and stuff as a general, right? Because if power inherently is about like maintaining power by subjugating other groups, what happens is we start mirroring that system in other ways, and you have other people like, you know, co-opting the same oppressive systems that hurt them or whatever with other people. And that's what it is now, because there's no other context. If we said, if people were like, oh, let's have more black people, we need to get more diverse racial representation in the room or whatever, we would know automatically. People that are quick to like endorse this idea that like trans women are erasing them would be the same ones saying, oh, that's racist. That is absolutely absurd or whatever, to not want to have people included. But suddenly you're pretending now that merely want you to include trans women has anything to do with you. It's insane how people, the powerful, switch themselves to make the victim, and we are that in this scenario. If we are as cis women, no one, our womanhood is it's the blueprint. It's that. No one, it's what's concrete. You're a woman. There's no challenge to that. You don't live in existence in that. So how are you suddenly making it that someone else's identification with womanhood, or someone being a woman, or someone wanting to be included, has anything to do with you? Like, it's fucking absurd. I understand it is okay to say I want to be called a woman and call myself a woman. Yeah, we all call ourselves women. The only time you call yourself, you would say I call myself a cis woman in a conversation where I'm distinguishing myself from a trans woman. Conversation, it's literally language, which tells me it's like there's something else baked there, or whatever, the inherent transphobia. And listen, I think I don't condemn anybody for what our initial Yes, I see everybody in the comments. Anna said, "Oh, sorry, yes. And no one's talking about Anna in general. We're just talking about we've moved on now.
And we will get to her video.
Yeah, we moved on. Okay, Anna's fine. We like Anna. But I'm like, if this is just language descriptors, and I'm not gonna condemn people for their initial you're baked into a society, I said all the time, that teaches you the default is to end up being on the side of usually pretty bigoted things. But it's the inability and the unwillingness to examine that and not to recognize that you see it in every other context. It's sick to see a bunch of Black people, gay people, other gay people, and people just acting so willing to take the one opportunity to be above somebody on the social hierarchy and be so deliberately obtuse to the fact that you are implementing the exact same structure. Like, inclusivity does not exclude you, the person who has the ability to exclude. That makes no sense. We're women. Like, no one can kick us out. No one can kick us out. We have the keys to the woman club.
100%.
So how are you acting?
I want to add another thing too, is that it's the right that are doing this kind of like biological essentialism, where you are a man if you have a prostate and a scrotum and a penis, and you're a woman if you have a uterus and the ability to give birth. That's the right that is doing that shit. They're the ones who are like, man equals dick, woman equals vagina. That's their game. We should not play that game, right? Like we're the ones who are like, well, we have moved past this. Science has, our understanding has.
I have one thing to say about that, though.
Okay.
I have one thing to say about that. Is that people be bigoted everywhere. And I really think one of the things that I've been kind of like thinking about a little bit is we make these descriptors of like leftists are like this and right go like this, but a lot of it isn't. I'm gonna go off of my own experience, right? And I swear I can make this make sense somehow. So I've been thinking a lot about the ways in which my experience as a Black woman in Black communities, that there is a lot of things that are inherently socially conservative within that, despite, say, voting more left.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things there that are still inherently very status quo, patriarchal, homophobic, transphobic, all those things, right? And so it's easy to kind of say, like, I guess even if we're looking at this context, like, well, she's usually leaning on the left, so that is something that is other and therefore not being understood within our own spaces in which, and it makes it so that they're that, I'm this, and I don't have to do any reflections on the way that I still uphold patriarchy and homophobia and stuff like that. And I think this is a perfect, again, I don't know her very well. You guys seem to be friends, and we still need to
we're not being self-reflective enough of our own inherent biases, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
And that's more reflective of what is happening versus
here. If we're using this as an example.
True.
Like, even if she has the history, for instance, of being more on the left, and that has in some ways been very much so, applauded for her within her own community, it's times like this where, okay, I personally think you dropped the ball. And when you decide to ignore that, we still end up in the same space, and how you have like Republican fanboys being like, oh my gosh, she got it right this time. Like, that's an issue, right? That shows that is not as
the history matters.
Like
is that person salvageable? Like that's where the history matters. Is
right, but you don't need that. You don't need to like my thing. Like, and I was noticing this, and I was on Majority Report like I am every Thursday. But before I got on, Emma addressed the situation, and Emma had a really good take. Emma's great, but even Emma, she mentioned how Anna's history and everything. And I mean, I know they've worked together for a long time, so I get it in her very specific case, because it's also where her background on Anna comes into play. But like every single person, even here on here, I feel like they're like, you feel like you have to say something about Anna Kasparian's history. And if I guess it comes up that like someone's comparing her to like Ben Shapiro or something, then yeah, you could bring up it's not the same thing. But you don't need to add that when you're just discussing what she said, because it has no bearing on what she said. Her history means really nothing to someone who is hurt or affected by what she said in that very tweet. It's just sort of like a pointless sort of additional comment.
I think it matters
just
in terms
addressing
of
that thing.
I think it matters in terms of like the pylon. Like there's it makes sense.
Well,
to,
no, I don't think it matters because
it makes
that
sense to
pylon.
have an argument of what is wrong with what she said as opposed to the person. Because a lot of the Twitter shit that was a lot of the responses to her were just fucking completely unhinged, and like it makes look. I understand.
Well, I mean,
anger and that
how
sort
do
of
you
thing,
think
but
they
to have
feel?
bad faith
Like
criticisms, but to have to paint an entirety of an individual because of a single bad
I'm gonna
tweet.
tell you this though.
I think that's ridiculous.
I will say this didn't happen in a bubble. A lot of people were coming off of knowing her as someone who also had a really bad take on what was going on in California, really hyping into the whole crime thing. She went on Ben Shapiro's
Prison
show.
abolition.
Yeah, I mean, she's and listen, I don't actually know Anna. My connection with her, here I go doing the same thing, but I mean, this is part of the conversation now here. My connection to her was she co-hosted the Jacobin Weekend Show for a short time with one of my best friends, Michael Brooks, before he passed away, and that's my one connection to her. She followed me from that. She retweets me every now and then, but I never met her, never went on a show with her. I don't know her. Do I respect the work she's done? Sure. But it also means that like when she says something, it's on us to also that's like we disagree with or is wrongheaded. It's also on us to call her out for it without needing to like beat around the bush and tiptoe around the obvious. I mean, she had bad takes, and you should be able to mention those without like having to classify it as But you shouldn't get mad at her for this because of her history. No, I mean no one's mad at her for her history.
I think it makes sense if you want her to change her mind and to understand what she did wrong. Because if it's just if without that context, like again, that's why it's important if you know her that you do include that context, because she has to understand these disagreements are coming from an honest place, and we're not just doing it for clicks, right? Like that's so.
Of course,
but that's not the same. That's not the same though. That's not the same.
I have to say it. Oh my God, I have to say it. I like Anna, but I feel a little bit like this is the coddle the white lady hour. And you know why? And you know why? I thought this even earlier because before this, the Majority Report put out a thing too, and everybody else, and I was like, boy, everybody sure feels the need to trip over their fucking feet to come out to defend her for getting cooked when all of the people get cooked all the time. I have yet to watch a video of anybody defending me from getting fucking cooked. I've never seen it. I've never seen everybody come out. She has a lot of fucking bad takes, and then she gets cooked because she comes out unprovoked. She asked to be cooked. She got up today and she said, Twitter, cook me.
Right. Listen,
She has yet to delete the tweet. I want to make it clear. She has yet to delete the fucking tweet.
Wait, she hasn't deleted it?
You know why? Because at the end of the day, she took a 106,000 like tweet. She said she didn't even get ratioed. She didn't even get ratioed. She'll be all right. All right. She couldn't do it. Like, oh my God.
I saw that Majority Report video that went up. It's exactly what Emma said on the show earlier today. And when I heard Emma say it, I was like, Emma put it great. And then I saw them put it up with the title that says Anna Kasparian is not anti-trans. I'm like, that's not the point. Why are you putting that as the title of the video? That's not the point.
She's
This
not
is
an
where
anti-trans.
And
the concern.
It was an anti-trans take.
The substance of the viewpoint, she is legitimized. You see what I'm saying? The conversation has just shifted to defend. Like everybody's conversation is about defending whether or not Anna is a turf in her career and blah blah blah, rather than talking about the substance of what she put out and why that is offensive to legitimize and why it's a problem for
And being held responsible for it.
Thank you.
Like
That's the problem.
normalize large creators being called out and being like, oh shit, I was wrong. Like, do you know how many times I've fucked up as a cis dude towards the trans community? How many times they've been like, I've had DMs from very prominent trans activists being like, Lance, you can't make that edgy joke. It's like, it's intercommunal. Don't do that. I'm like, oh shit, delete that.
And now look at Lance. He's going on Tim Pool's show. Look how it all worked out.
I will say, like,
you moved to the right.
I hate you. I'm not doing your show again.
Well, can I also say too that I think that like the context is important about somebody's history, but to me, when I saw that tweet, the context made it so much more hurtful because
Right.
she knows better. That was the
Right.
problem with me. And when I reached out to her privately, I explained that it's like, this wasn't just like some random person. This is somebody with a history of very good LGBTQ plus arguments. And I brought to her attention this great video that she did like 8 months ago. So like it was after Roe v. Wade was overturned, where her and John talked about Professor Kiara Bridges. And she was talking to Josh Hawley, and he was pissed off that she used this term, people with the capacity for pregnancy. And his whole shtick was that, oh, well, you're trying to degrade women. Like that was the subtext of it. And in that video, I explained to Anna that like you destroyed him perfectly. Like you defended inclusive language. You said that trans men exist, so we have to acknowledge them. And it's like to see you make that defense of inclusionary language and then say this, that's what felt like a gut punch to me.
And it
doubling
feels
down.
And I
like
tried
you
to
don't-
explain that,
I
like,
think, is
it's
a
not
big issue as
necessarily
well.
about, it's not about like degrading women. Like just from my perspective, like I have a family member who's non-binary, and they, as far as I know, have the capacity for pregnancy. So why can't they be included in these conversations too? Why can't we at least use language that's really technical and objective in specific settings? Like nobody's like, I'm not calling my cousin a person with menstrual cycles or some shit. This isn't a conversation that we're having with each other, but in terms of like legal settings or clinical settings, I want them to be included because for a decade now they've been fighting for validation. And so it's not like you being invalidated, it's them being validated. So like me reaching out to Anna was realizing that she can do better. And that's why it was so disappointing. And it bothered me because an ally doesn't have to be perfect 100% of the time as much as they try. Like they should. So my whole explanation was that like, look, I get what it's like to be on the receiving end of a pile-on, right?
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. And even I fuck up as an ally for trans people too. Like last year, I don't know if you remember, I did a segment on Rising, the first time that I ever learned about Olay, and I purposefully misgendered an individual named Im Kyverson, who threatened to sue me as a result of that video. And I was trying to make the point that if you want to misgender trans people, then this is how it feels when it happens to you. And trans people were like, Mike, that's not the argument that we're trying to make here. We don't want to normalize any misgendering. And so like initially I was like, oh, come on, man. Like I got defensive, but I explained to Anna, like, look, we're all in these positions where we're imperfect allies. Like we all, like I'll never escape my own subjective experience as a cis man.
Yeah.
But the best thing that we can do is when we fuck up, don't shut down and harden your stance. Don't double down as hard as it may be. Try to listen to good faith actors, because even though, like as David points out, there's a lot of people that are bad faith critics that are coming at this. But the people who you should listen to are people who are good faith. I would consider myself good faith. Like I've been very, very close, at least online. Like we've never met, but like me and Anna have communicated for years now. I consider her a friend. I feel like I'm someone who should respond and not have you shut down. Like the fact that you shut down tells me that you have to be more introspective and not hardened. So that's like what I brought to her. And it seems like based on like our conversation that she is like, she kind of acknowledges where she fucked up. I hope she owns it and goes further, but that's kind of, you know.
David.
Let's see if we can.
Goddamn Willy Wonka over here. Okay.
Raped
All right.
offends her because she feels like birthing persons is offensive.
So let me just address something, okay? For me, as a woman who has experienced endless debates, like our bodies are so politicized. And I hate feeling from the right wing my entire life that our bodies are just meant for producing children. So the phrase person with a uterus, for me, is triggering. But I understand the importance of inclusive language. I just don't like to be boiled down to a body part. So Mike Figueiredo from the Humanist Report reminded me of a video we did a few years ago where we were defending someone who used the phrase people with the capacity for pregnancy in the context of the abortion debate, I believe it was. I'm totally fine with that. I think that's totally fine. If that's what they want to use in a medical setting, great. But for me, my personal preference is I don't like to be referred to, even in the context of an abortion debate, as a person with a uterus. Person with the capacity for pregnancy, that's great. That's all I'm saying. I think
I got something to say
my
right
track
after
record
this,
on
please.
transgender issues is
Let's
pretty
finish it.
clear, and I hope you understand that I have no disdain or hatred for the transgender community whatsoever.
I'm gonna jump out a window.
Yeah, that's. I thought I was expecting better than that. Honestly, I first time seeing that.
The two biggest. Wait, sorry. Let me say this. The two biggest conservative figures who went after her afterwards, both of them were demanding that she stop calling herself cis. That was Glinner and Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh and Glinner, both of them were like, hey, by the way, you came so close, but you could never call yourself cis. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, so you're telling a woman who's telling you that, like, I don't want to be told what I have to be referred to, that I have to not use these terms. So that's the right-wing response to this. I hope everyone realizes.
I'll say what I think the issue is. It doesn't. She has to understand she has a platform. It doesn't matter what her personal feeling is. She doesn't need to voice that publicly. Like
she didn't.
That's just stay private. Like talk about. You have to understand the power you have with your words and language, and it doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how you feel personally.
What context? I'm sorry. What context is she being called? Like just walking around a person with a uterus? That's what I'm trying to understand. There's this like this kind of like I'm not being included or I'm being erased. Again, there is something by nature of her distinguishing that, where she's like, I'm so tired of being called a person with a uterus. And it's like, but if we were talking about it again in this, like, if we're talking about it in the abortion debate, because she brings up that in particular, then you, a woman, aren't the only person that is included in the people who are considered for the abortion debate. So why does it bother you to be called, for everyone who has the capacity to get pregnant, to be called people that have the capacity to get pregnant? It's a non-apology. She didn't acknowledge that you, for some reason, came out of nowhere talking about how you don't want to be referred to as someone with a uterus. But who is walking around calling you?
Right.
Also,
Right.
it's important to say. I hate when Anna has very slickly recharacterized what she did. It's very, and we're going along with the recharacterization. She did not come out and like, I don't like to be called that or whatever. That was very much a public service announcement style tweet with a whole declaration of why I don't see a call to everybody else says, I don't see why that's not degrading and dehumanizing, and you can support the trans community and not be a part of that shit. She literally presented people with a talking point. You know what I mean? Like, hey, for something that, like, this is bullshit, hogwash, this level of like trying to slip that aside or whatever. That's one. Two, and again, I like Anna, but I'm gonna call this what it is. And I don't want to, and for the record, throw, like I said, all the bail, I'm a shooter. Anna first became known to me when she covered me on TYT, me defending Elliot Page from being dead named on Rising. So yes, I acknowledge all the work she's done, but this is, and that's why this is some knowing bullshit, and I don't like the way she's sidestepping it. And second of all, I want to say this: this is the way that, and I want to call this on what it is, on the white womanness of all of this, because this is the way that white women act that makes some people feel like you're not real allies, and very much so. I want to speak to the Bill Burr joke of being in on the heist and not liking your cut, because this is the tippity top most privileged shit ever. Do you know how much shit, how many words, how many ways of classification exist in this society that I don't like as a black woman that you live with? I think I like every time urban to me and black people, urban all the damn time. I hate criminal justice system. I hate law and order. I hate 90% of the shit that we say and things that are a part of our fucking lexicon. But I don't get to make this level of declaration like, oh, it's so bothers. You can want to be called by whatever you want to call in your life. No one is stopping you from calling you a woman. People refer to you as a woman. You are a woman. Nothing is infringing upon you. But the fact that you unprovoked were so bothered by the idea of other people using this inclusive language that you even feel like you could make some PSA as though like people should not be using this because you don't like it, because it's not your preferred measure, is a level of privilege that is not being called out in this conversation. That's some real white woman shit. And I like Anna, but that is what that is.
Well, and to add on to that, as an example, might I add, J.K. Rowling did an interview with a reporter, and this is actually nearly verbatim the same type of language she used. And so for Anna to use J.K. Rowling-esque language is terrifying, to be honest. I don't know if you guys have seen that interview or heard of it. I'm sure you have. But J.K. Rowling essentially says that her uncomfortableness with the trans community, as she likes to call it, is because she felt that she as a woman is being erased by this type of inclusive language.
Didn't she say something like, what's the word for the thing that menstruates again? Woman, wooban, weeban?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
that
If
was the tweet
someone
or
was
something like
like,
that?
if
Yeah.
white people was
Yeah.
like, I feel like when white people start talking about they feel like they're being erased when we make the Little Mermaid black and stuff like that and blah blah.
Mhm.
Racist. We all fucking know it's racist. We all in consensus. Everybody knows it's fucking racist. The same way when you start using this bullshit logic when it comes to my womanhood, bro, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
It's the
No,
same
get outta
argument. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing, my guy. It's the same thing. You just like this kind of bigotry. That's all. Like, that's all.
This is the bigotry that you feel entitled to. Like, there's an element of like, someone brought up in the comments, I happen to look over here, and this was kind of the feeling I was getting from it. I was like, how did this become about you? Like, it's like, we're talking about inclusionary language for trans people, and somehow you felt like this is personal. And it's like, huh? The only way it would feel personal is if you feel entitled to, like, I'm being erased as a woman. And it's like, no, we're just including trans people. Again, you've made this about you. And it's fascinating to me that, and I guess this also goes back to kind of the concerns that I was started having when we were kind of like, you know, is she transphobic? Is she this? Is she that? It's like, why, again, regardless of what she is, she made this tweet, and being that you do have a background in being pro-trans or an ally, there is some space to feel not just hurt by it, but to question, did you ever feel those things that you, again, were so able to eloquently talk about? So when we talk about like the backlash she's getting because of that, there is a reason why. Like, if you are getting backlash to someone who's already had transphobic like rhetoric and they've said it, it's like not shocking that they still do. So I don't know, I'm struggling to figure out how, you know, in an effort to spearhead correction, I think the issue here is that, can you really judge anything based off of her history, based off of what she said? Because right now at present, she did all those things and then we're still here. So I think that's a big part of where people are struggling to move past it.
Yeah.
I think she was trying to explain her thought process, and the half that was missing was understanding the impact of the language, and that's the part that matters most, is the impact of the language, as opposed to how you personally feel about, you know, how you're called. And again, to your point, who's calling her this? Like, this is not, like, no one's using it.
Let me respond to this in the comments. I see, why is everything reduced to race with Olay? Olay is playing the race card. Hold on, let me get the next one. Your point
Typical David Dole viewer.
When you, listen,
You all realize YouTube is public, right?
yeah,
You're the chaos energy.
Yeah, David.
There's
I
always
saw some of
a
your
wild
YouTube
card.
comments this week. I guess that's your audience now.
No, look at my YouTube comments. They're nice.
I saw people talking shit.
But listen,
Yeah, Binder from the ropes.
I am not one of those. I am not one of those black people that you think you can like shame out of, like make me feel like I'm not supposed to mention race or the way that race is a part of things, because I don't give a fuck. I want y'all to know that I do not live for y'all. I do not serve y'all. You don't like what I have to say because I'm going to point out what it is. The reality, and in this particular instance, I'm analogizing. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's what I'm doing, because what I'm recognizing is there's more of a consensus, a progressive consensus around race and racism and these particular things. So I was showing you how, when applied there, all of everybody, a lot of the people defending these viewpoints or whatever out in the public discourse would have a problem with it if used in that setting. So that's what's happening here. And why I make things about race? Well, because America has. Okay?
I was gonna say,
I would love to be a fucking cute girl. You think I don't want to be fried and go be cute? Okay. Yeah, no. The reality is that's what's going the fuck on. And I'm educated. So I'm going to continue to tell people, and if you don't like it, you can feel free to kiss my black ass. Thank you.
And also, it's just fair to say that if arguably there is something to be said about the kind of like falling on this, well, I don't know if I want to say falling on the sword. Maybe I'm not as like out here. So like, because I'm like, there is this element of like falling on the sword to like defend, but it's just like she said what she said, and that's what's happening. Like, and I wonder to what degree people would, go out of their way to defend to such a degree if she didn't have maybe her history or her platform, or if she weren't a pretty thin white woman. I don't know. There's something to be said about that.
Well, she gets the benefit of the doubt more so than anyone else. If I saw like a random person in a vacuum make that tweet, I'm saying, fuck you, go fuck yourself. But because I know and I have the context, it makes it better and worse, as I was saying, because it's like, well, you should know better. And also, one thing that I wanted to say also is that like even the word woman, that can be used in a context that is derisive. Like I think it was Zach from the Vanguard today made the point that like if somebody yelled at you and said, hey, woman, down the street, that's pretty demeaning and degrading as well. So like the context really does matter in this instance. And like for me, one last thing that I'll say about this is that it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. And that's what I really want to stress to people and anyone who feels as if they're like under attack by the left. It doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. We all fuck up. We're human beings. Take accountability. And when we call you out, it comes from a good faith place of love. We're all good faith actors. None of us are anxious to cancel Anna Kasparian here. But from this situation, I hope that she grows. And I hope that if I fuck up somehow and I say something sexist or insensitive, that she calls me on my bullshit, because we're not perfect. We all have our own lived experiences. And sometimes we're going to make mistakes as allies. It's just a matter of taking accountability and also recognizing the impact that we have as individuals with very big platforms. Like to say what she said in the middle of an international crusade against trans people, that's what really makes it so much more problematic. If she said this back in 2014, it's like, okay, I disagree, but I'm moving on. But to say it now, it just felt like she should have known that she was adding fuel to the fire, to this like crusade against trans people. Like she's giving the right exactly what they wanted. So like to me, it's not about like canceling Anna. It's not about like trying to demean her and erase her previous history. It's just a matter of you fucked up. It's a bad tweet. It's indefensible. Please do better.
Cancel. Absolutely nobody is trying to cancel Anna. And let me make sure I say that before anybody want to clip 5 minutes of what it was an hour conversation or 10 minutes. Nobody. Literally, I want to let the record reflect. I saw Anna's thing. I did not quote tweet. I did not comment. I didn't say nothing about Anna. Whatever. This is, you know what I mean? Like
we were asked this question.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, because listen, you're gonna have whatever say things, and like I said, I do not think it's a worthwhile thing to be in spats with commentators or whatever. Blah, blah. I'd rather be about the views, which was I made a video on Twitter that is circulating, talking about the issue itself. No mention of Anna or Anna's tweets or any thoughts about Anna or anything like that. Because like I say, it's not about her for me. No one is trying to cancel Anna. She's fine.
And I have to point out really quick here. So I was also triggered by Jenk's responses to this, but I want them to understand where I'm coming from because I understood where Jenk was coming from. So an example is that a couple of months ago, I did a segment on money in politics, and I covered an article that mentioned Wolfpack, and the article misrepresented the organization Wolfpack, which Jenk founded. Jenk had privately reached out to me, and he's like, hey, people at Wolfpack think that you misrepresented them and whatnot. And at first, I got defensive. It's like, oh, come on, give me a break. Is this really that significant? But they thought it was. So I tried to do my best to correct it. I brought on one of the executives at Wolfpack to kind of explain what the disconnect was. So if he can understand why reaching out in good faith is important for growth, then he should apply that to this situation as well. Because I listened to you, motherfucker, so listen to me now. That was a bad tweet.
No,
stop hardening your stance.
they like he doubled down more than Anna did, and it's like, guys, like apologies work. Apologize. Nothing's wrong with it.
Yes.
People will forgive you if you understand
Apologies
the impact
are
of your
base.
words, what you did wrong, and you apologize. Yeah, like it's nothing's wrong. Like people,
it doesn't make you weak.
Apologize.
You're not getting into the woke mob.
Yeah, see, he made tweets about like thinking like staying in their position is making them strong. No, that's making you look like you're weak and unable to acknowledge that you said something ridiculous. Like,
exactly.
I want to also say one thing to all the chats, by the way. A lot of people are upset about being like, Anna, you're saying she's white, she's Armenian. I'm not trying to do erasure of any single ethnicity. I'll say this, like, my mother is native. I have a status card and I'm white as fuck. I'm white. When I say white, by the way, it's because how do police interact with me? Police interact with me like a white guy. Okay, I don't sit there and they're like, oh wait, we have to do blood quantum on you, sir. We're gonna find out what you. No, that shit doesn't happen. White just means like how are you treated by, generally speaking,
Society.
society.
Hold on, is it Armenia is also
Run a track. I'm sorry, I gotta stop this dead in the tracks. This comment says, Olay got famous off TYT. Boosting her rant against Kim. TYT's on the right side, y'all being sensitive. Let me tell you something. Do not play with fucking me. Do not play with my track record. I'm a bitch who's been on John Oliver, The Breakfast Club. Everybody named Mama AOC shouted me out on The Breakfast Club. I told you to keep it fucking cute, baby. Keep it cute. I stay booked and busy. I did not get famous off TYT. TYT was covering me because I was already viral off that clip, and my whole thing. Everybody covered me. Lance covered that. Mike covered that. That's how I got. Excuse me, baby.
Yeah, she got famous from me covering her because Kim Iverson threatened to sue me because of that clip. Okay.
Not to mention, Olay did mention. Not to mention Olay, you'd mentioned that already. Like you mentioned how TYT covered, like how she covered you.
Yeah,
like
I noted
you
that.
weren't like hiding this information.
I literally said that. Did I not say I did a courtesy? I did not quote tweet this woman. I say nothing negative about her. I've shot her all the bail that I could shoot her. I have acknowledged literally all the good things, all her track record. But let's not get beside ourselves in these comments. Don't you ever in your life? Ain't that something? Don't you ever in your life got famous on TYT? You and me fucked up. A bunch of people who know me ain't even seen that interview. What the fuck you talking about?
Is there anything left on this topic, Binder?
We should move on.
To avoid controversy,
Blair,
to avoid controversy, everyone should just going forward call people nice, neutral terms like toots and sweetheart and honey.
You can call me ejaculating person if you want. If that makes you feel better.
Person with the prostate.
David Dole, ejaculating person.
That's right. All right, we can move on.
All right.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, kind of in the same vein, though, some folks are asking, do you think that infighting among the left weakens the left?
Yeah.
And do we consider this infighting?
No. I want to.
No.
This is
Let me just say-
constructive. This is constructive. We all
First
love
of
each other.
all,
Come on.
can
What
we
is
fundamentally defend us? I think we are the only show like this with this many leftist content creators of different whatever in and of itself. We every Thursday convene and be good and nice and discuss our ranging of views. I think we are already leading the pack when it comes to no, we believe there should be no like infighting and blah blah blah. That's why we were saying you see all this bail we've been shooting, lone bail. We stay away from it. No, we do. We've talked about it like the whole first 3 episodes of the show. We were like, we don't believe.
I want to know
that.
though, like what is infighting? What constitutes infighting? If this discussion about what's happening, this discussion with Anna was an infight, like what is infighting?
I think
I mean,
people who would
we
bring up,
did-
like Madeleine Albright is in like you're going too far. If it's like, hey, you should criticize a take because you think it's transphobic. Don't criticize a take because it's like, hey, you interviewed Madeleine like Albright years ago. Then you're creating infighting, in my opinion. You're not actually like criticizing a fellow content creator.
So that's just bad faith critique then, as opposed to
infighting.
opposed to
Okay,
That's true.
you're right.
criticism
This
of
is more
opinion.
sophisticated than we thought. Okay.
I'm
But we
openly
didn't-
going to comment.
We didn't tell anyone to like stop listening to TYT or don't
God, no.
follow Anna anymore.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we were just
No, God, no.
discussing an issue that happened, and that's it. I mean, I don't see.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
key
yeah.
difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism.
Right.
Like, to my knowledge, all of us are trying to get Anna to understand why there is so much backlash to that response. We're not trying to like cancel her. See, this is why the Young Turks is fucking terrible. Like, that's not what we're trying to do, obviously. And we're gonna have these disagreements. Like, go back a couple of years, you see me and Kyle Kalinske going back and forth arguing. We even had like DM arguments. Now we're like, I mean, Kyle's always been my brother. He just hit 1 million today. Shout out to him. But like, we have to have these conversations on the left. The left is not monolithic. Some of us are at different like levels in terms of where we're at with regard to specific knowledge. We have to have these conversations, otherwise we can't grow. So you can understand that sometimes left fighting might look like that's what's happening, or this might look like infighting, but I feel like this is actually constructive. We've got to hash this out. Like, you can't just allow people in our own community to say things that I think are really deeply hurtful and harmful and go unchecked. This is what we're here for. Call me out when I fuck up. We'll call you out when you fuck up too. It's just like, this is what we're supposed to do.
It's a microcosm of like society too, right? Like that's what you should do amongst your friends, your family, all that kind of stuff, right? It's healthy. If anyone here actually hangs out with other people IRL, where you're like trying to do like, you know, knock on doors, activism, direct stuff, like everyone disagrees with each other, but you're still on the same pathway. We're all like, we're all together in this, right? Shit.
And people respect it when you do it like the nice way. Like how I even first did my TYT interview was because, and Anna said it on the interview, it was like when they were getting dogpiled on about abolition. I think it was like Cheng's tweets and stuff like that. Anna was like, I was one of the only people who was like nice to her in how I addressed it in like a helpful way. So I think like, constructive, there's a way, you know what I mean? Constructive criticism and talk to that person. Like people will come to you, they will whatever. It's when I do think there is a lot of infighting on the left that is unhelpful. I've said that. I think that, I mean,
those people aren't on the left though. Like that's what.
No, that's true. Yeah. I agree with that. The problem is, you know, in the pseudo leftist town square on the internet, you know, they are considered as such, and people decide
someone like fucking Jimmy Dore, who's like obviously a right winger. He had David Sachs on his fucking show last week. Like, give me a fucking break. So when he's like, I'm the farthest left, like fuck off. Like you're paid by the right. Like what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
do not trust anyone who uses that like as his title. I am the most left of all leftism. I am the wokest of all woke. Is like, what the fuck is wrong? No, do not trust. Red flag.
Point being, there cannot act like there is no real infighting. Infighting does not exist because if you are engaging in those bad faith attacks for clicks, then you're not on the left. You're just a piece of shit, and you're doing shit for clicks. Like infighting is.
That's true. See, I believe you. I believe you in reality. Like I believe that's true. However, the appearance of who people consider of that, you know what I mean? Who they consider their leftist voices, from the appearance of that, it looks like it's just a constant that spat, you know what I mean? It's a lot of that. I feel like even I would go as far as to say a lot of what I see from a lot of these people is just their whole commentating is just talking about what they think about what the other person said. You know what I mean? It's never just coming with I swear to God.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, yes, it's never. Like, it's never actually like, oh, here is what I care about. You know what I mean? Like, this is my platform. This is my agenda. This is what I am particularly, you know, an expert in discussing, and I'm, you know, building a philosophy. It's always like such and such and you know. So I think the general answer to y'all's question, I think infighting is unhelpful, and it's always existed. I want to be clear. That's not new. You know, people are painted like it's new, or it's the internet, or it's the left now. There's always been infighting. You can read Huey Newton's book, and he's throwing shade at Stokely Carmichael, and for a whole essay and shit. It's always been a thing. People always been fighting on all levels of whatever. So yeah.
And we're the left. It's what we do. Like there was some, I can't remember, I'm gonna butcher it, but there was like this graph that was like the differences between the right and the left align because they both agree in guns and yada yada, and then it's like at the center it was everyone hates leftists. Like I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Like even leftists hate leftists because that's what we do. We just shit on each other all the time, and
I've seen the crab meme.
Yeah, that's fact. Yeah, I do think there is more unity on the right for sure, because of course there's unity in evil, because everything is acceptable when you're honestly, if you can be absolutely evil, anything you do is acceptable. So why would you have beef? Right? Like if you're trying to have like standard. Yeah,
the entire right has this very like black and white understanding of what is and what isn't. You know, they have this very I genuinely believe a lot of far right people see themselves as like superheroes, saviors, liberators.
Yeah,
you know,
they main character syndrome.
Very main character, and they see themselves particularly as direct opposition to whatever isn't this very
degeneracy, the downfall of society.
Right. Well, and also they have a very succinct and short-sighted, like myopic view of what that is, right? And so anyone that brings in a but, it's like, no. Like any idea of gray area at all completely deconstructs this very tiny viewpoint of life and about what happens in the world. And so they're like, I am an active, I have to save the world from this, and they all have the same idea of whatever that is, but the left doesn't really have that. And by proxy of having a more nuanced take, it means everyone's on different parts of that nuance, whereas they're just very much so libs. Killing millions of babies and Jesus taking God out of the schools, and that's bad. And then it's like y'all are all together. So
no, exactly, facts.
yeah.
Oh, I just realized that I forgot to tell y'all, the audience, shameless plug, that my show premiered, the first 2 episodes of my show.
Right.
I forgot to tell y'all.
So good.
Thank you.
I've seen 100% of the Illuminati show.
I love that. I love that. The editing, my editor is amazing, and y'all should watch my Trump episode because the editing is phenomenal. If I do say so myself, it really gives me life personally. My hanging
really
in hell intro. Thank you,
It's
y'all.
damn good.
Thank you. It's cute. I like it. I'm a fan, if I do say so myself. I'm like, we like it over there. Everyone's like, oh, a live man came to hear you talk, and I'm like, oh, hey, you're not mad.
And I have to say, the random animal facts, I mean, that is ingenious.
Yes, thank you.
What was the fact about koalas again? That blew my mind.
Well, what was the koala fact? It was that they have chlamydia. A bunch of mad koalas. Mad koalas. Mad koalas have chlamydia in the wild.
And while we're giving each other a little bit of love and sucking each other off here and sucking ourselves off possibly, Lance's mind explosions, so fucking amazing. Like, I've seen all of them now, and waiting for the hammer to drop is fucking hysterical, where it's like, also, speaking of light, we should shine a light on this. It's so good.
Oh, fact. We're talking on content. I watched Blair. I watched your video on Butch Hartman, the Fairly Odd
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, so good. I was like, yo, I love Blair's videos. Literally, my friend, I made my friends full on fans of you, Blair, right? They was hating, right? Because they was hating originally, they didn't get the triangle thing. And I was like, because you ain't seen a content. If I show you a content, I was like, he has more followers than all of us for a reason. I was like, come sit down with me. Let's watch the Fire Fest video. And they were like, oh shit, that's the guy. I was like, now you fuck with the triangle. Don't you?
Blair, I was meaning to tell you this. Blair, the other day, my mom sent me one of your videos. It was like, have you heard about the Nexium cult? I was like, oh, I know all about the Nexium cult. No way. I was like, yo, I no, this is my friend. This is awesome. Oh, I'm so excited. That's amazing. So it's got to normies. It's got all the way to my mom's.
Hell yeah. As it should, because that's what all of our content is really about, is about spreading a message, talking about what's going on.
Yeah, I like it.
So hell yeah.
I just to prove how much I watch everybody's content, but I tuned into Lance's his show like multiple times this week. I'm fully in the chat. I get the emails, which I love. Lance. I'm like, oh, Lance is streaming. Let me jump on. And I always watch David. I love David. I love all your thumbnails. I think you make the best thumbnails on your videos. I like them. They're very
spend
great.
like sometimes like 30 minutes. Like, I want to get the right image, the right angle of somebody. Like,
I love
make a whole scene in the thumbnail. So I'm glad
I
you
love
appreciate
it. And then I was watching Humanist Report, and I was like, oh, this is the best professional intro background. I was like, oh, this is the news. Mike is the Kevin. This is the news. Then I watched Bender, and I was like, first of all, I watched Bender shit like 20 minutes after. It was like an interview with Lance, and it already had like thousands of views. I'm over here like, and then I go and I watch it. I'm like, Bender's like, I don't like, he's on stage. I was like, oh, how you think people don't know he's a short king? He's out here giving people full tours. Bender's going around the place. You watch Bender conduct business. Yeah, I watch everybody's content, and y'all know I watch Bad Movies to Be every Saturday. I was like, oh, I like everybody oh, I like these people. That's why when people like throw shade at you, I go to Lance, like I'm very mad. I don't like this. I'm okay with this. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Fuck them. Fuck them. Yeah, they don't matter. And now Kenny's like, so is this the show? You guys just compliment each other for 2 hours?
Yes.
That's weird. That's weird. Seems strange.
That's why we do this every week.
We literally do this every week.
Well, and honestly, why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we?
It should be like a weekly thing.
True.
We get enough shit online. Might as well like each other sometimes.
Yeah, self-love and celebrating friendship.
No internet hugs.
It's important. I've got to address Matt Bender though. So I raided Lance yesterday when you were both talking, and Matt was like, "Oh, how come you didn't raid me?" Well, guess what, Matt? I've raided you like 3 times, and you don't notice on Twitter because you're focused on the YouTube chat. So I want recognition when I raid.
That's true. All right, makes sense. All right, I'll check it.
I shouted out. I was good. I was great. Yeah, it was awesome.
I believe Lance pointed out that being that he was gonna then raid my Twitch channel, that it was like you were raiding me.
I gave like a secondhand raid, you know?
Right, and I believe I compared it to a human centipede of Twitch raids.
Yes, it reached you. You got the asparagus. It was great.
Yes.
Did you actually watch that movie? Because oh my god, I remember watching that and just being like, "What?"
You watched that, David?
Oh yeah.
What?
I'm not sure I finished it, but once I got to the first mouth being stitched, I was like, "All right, that's."
They made like
Wait, you walked out?
No, I
Did
never
you walk
watched
out of the theater? Like, were you just like, oh, fuck.
Oh, no, I was at home. I didn't watch it.
Oh, fuck this. I'm out. Wait, what? This is not what I was promised. What I was told,
pay $15
Human
to watch that
Centipede, the motion picture, was about a bunch of friends hanging out. I didn't know they would have their assholes sewn to their mouths. What is this shit? Like, what are we doing here?
instead of like watching the super disgusting movies, there's like YouTube channels that'll like break it down. So I've seen like I've seen every Human Centipede by proxy, and it's okay. I won't. I don't have to.
They're terrible. There's no redeeming quality.
There's no.
I'm ashamed.
There's nothing about it.
The whole movie's in the name. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. You get what you buy on the tin. That's it.
I love. Speaking of Human Centipede, I think it was Lance that shared this meme.
What a transition.
Yeah.
But Lance shared this meme of like Fox News to like Tim Pool to Jimmy Dore, Human Centipede. That shit,
right?
that spoke to me.
True. Okay, no, it starts with 4chan. It starts with 4chan, 8chan, goes into Tim Pool, normalized. Oh, so then Andy No, and then all of a sudden by the end of it, it's Jimmy Dore, then Tucker Carlson, and then it's news, and then everyone accepts it as truth, and it's like that's not real. This was on 4chan like 4 Human Centipedes ago, but that's just like that's the cycle we have right now. Yeah.
Wait, is there's an image of this? I want to see this.
There
I
is.
painted it. I did, yeah. There's.
I think we even broke it down once on my stream. I think, right?
We did.
Oh man!
Had to do a
Somebody's
deep
talking
dive
about
into this Human Centipede.
Somebody's talking about a TLM drinking game.
Oh boy.
I feel like there was one person that said like this was a couple of weeks ago about a bingo, like a TLM bingo. I don't know where I saw this. I could be imagining this too. I don't think I am though. Where it was like, okay, bingo, one of the spots can be like whenever Mike cackles or whenever Lance cackles or Matt, because we're the 3 that like are very loud when we like laugh, apparently. And then there's other like different things that we kind of have like a signature now because we've been doing this long enough where we each have like our little things. But I don't know though. People would have to help us out if we were to create a bingo card. I think that'd be funny.
What thing we do a lot?
Of like what we each kind of do.
I feel like I could come up with this very easily. Someone remind me this week, and I will text a list of things to the Discord because I definitely know. Or y'all can tell us in the comments. Don't be shady though.
Yeah, be nice, or we will attack you.
They gonna say every time I take a smoke break. They so disrespectful. I already know it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes, no. What I was gonna say, you know what video you have, Kenny, that I watch all the time for no reason. It makes no sense. It's the most like illogical video to keep watching. It's your Ned and the Try Guys video.
People really like that
Oh.
video.
I didn't even
Apparently,
know who the fucking Try Guys were, but my investment.
apparently, Eugene followed me on Twitter, and my theory is off of that video, but I don't know. Unless he found me somehow, because that entire debacle was just fascinating as a creator. Like from a creator standpoint, I was just like, fascinating. Humans are so interesting. They really are.
I love it. I love that video. I've seen it so many times. It's unreal. I know the script. Like, I swear, I'm literally like, blow it up. Like,
I always love like finding out what people's like comfort videos are. Like, like I don't know what this says about me, but but like one of mine that I go back to when there's like nothing to watch is either I put on Fundy Fridays, which is like a YouTube channel that kind of talks about like religious extremists and like basically Christian fundamentalists and how they've somehow got in government and stuff. So it's like
that's
really
your comfort.
I have religious trauma. It's kind of fun.
I do too. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, my upbringing was wild. And then like, or I'll watch for some reason, was it Lindsay Ellis that made a video about the Omegaverse lawsuits? That is a definite, like, big different thing. I don't know if y'all know what Omegaverse is, but you don't need to if you don't. It's basically like, I'm gonna tell you anyway. It's basically like people who make fan fiction that's like incredibly disgusting in my opinion, but it's like everyone has like wolf personas.
Kenny, what you be watching?
I've been watching a lot of weird shit. It's really
like, the more you expound on this, the less sensitive.
And then apparently more than one person made a really gross Omegaverse novel, and the bitches start suing, and it was wild. I was like, oh my God. And then there was a whole video about the lawsuits. And then the lady that got called out ended up trying to sue the girl who made the video. So she made another video about that. Those two videos.
Those are your comfort watches.
Iconic. I love the beautiful silence of just like, okay.
I mean, I know how to follow that up, but I really don't want to because that's about to expose that I watched some really weird shit. So I'm like,
go for it.
I want to know, Blair.
No.
Okay.
Okay. No. So this video, I'm gonna post the link in case y'all don't know what this is. I watched this video not as like a comfort video, but it's more like when I get really depressed from some of the topics we research all the time. And I don't know if y'all remember this. A couple of years ago, there was like this whole drama or whatever about this guy's channel. Doing a Jelly Belly pet rat review, and this dude just says everything the dumbest way. He's like, "G-lie, B-lie, goo-my rat-tie." The whole video. This was. This sounds so freaking bizarre, and it is.
You said that. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
I've seen that shit. It's given me nightmares, literally.
Yes,
Yeah.
I only watch it at this point when I'm just so frustrated with shit that I'm like, I need to like reset my brain by watching something so fucking bizarre. There's that video.
It's cursed.
It's absolutely cursed, and it resets my
where's the
brain.
link?
I put it in
I
the.
feel like
the
we
little
should
side
watch
chat.
one just so people understand how bad it is.
Why not?
It's so bad. I'm so sorry for everybody.
What did you do to the screen?
Hello, nice to meet you, B. Today we have a G-lie, B-lie, Pete Rat, Gumai Kandai. G-lie, B-lie, Pete Rat, Gumai Kandai.
Is this what that shit is called? Is what you thought of?
So he...
What the fuck is going on?
Bro, 19 million views. Think of all the time we put into our videos.
That's more than
Oh
all
my
of us
God, I just
combined.
do this shit.
Yeah.
Combined. Every single person here, that's more views.
Life is not fair.
Let's get a few more seconds of this. I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Brief. Free fire. Pete Rat. Time to come here livey. Iskapi di pakaki. Iskapi di pakaki. Pete Rat Eyes. Virai bike and long. Virai bike and long.
I am so
Deepa
fucking sorry.
Komai.
Like, all I can do
Oh
is
my God.
apologize.
I don't
I'm
even
so
know.
fucking sorry. I see Ole's face and I literally want to just fucking kill myself right now. I am so sorry.
No, I'm like in a weird way hypnotized. I
it's-
want to
it's-
know where it goes.
It's like you wanna keep watching it. Like you're like,
Yeah, no.
what's it gonna say next?
It makes me feel like this overwhelming sense of dread, and I like it's inexplicable. I can't explain it. Like there's something about it that deep to my core that like affects me in such a negative way.
Tell me that's
Is
not a
every
good
video
mental
like
reset.
this?
Yes, his entire channel is like this.
They still
And
do
every
videos?
video gets so many fucking millions of views. It's
Yes.
We're
God
fucking
damn.
wrong.
This is an unserious
We're-
planet.
We could have been doing that instead of this, folks.
Unserious planet.
Well, just a quick left turn here. This cracked me up this week.
Okay.
There's a lot of potential freakiness to the idea of AI generated images, but oh my
I
God,
love
I love these. I
these
love
are
these.
amazing.
Oh, they're so much fun.
So
Everything's
good.
fun.
These are amazing. Like each, like him running like this, like what? Like he's
I
like
love
this. I like why these are so
one's
so enjoyable
good.
because we know this is never gonna happen. So like this is as
Right.
close as we're gonna get to actually seeing this.
Go
We
back
have
to the first.
technology.
Go back to the
So
first one.
cathartic. Oh my god.
I,
Yes,
I
it
love
is
the
right.
AI misunderstanding what it needed to do there and giving Donald Trump the little Billy Club belt buckle too.
Yeah.
You see?
And he has like three
He's
legs.
going for
I
the
think,
dick.
Looks like.
Yeah, I
No,
was gonna
he's-
say,
you know.
whose leg is that?
There's one that shows Melania crying, and it's like, and Trump's the cop. It's like it's so. It's like,
Melania
what's
would
even
not be
happening?
crying. Melania don't give a fuck
Oh no,
about
she would
Donald
not
Trump.
be crying. No.
No, I should be celebrating.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
man.
Why is there a man in that one? Go back one. Why
That's
is there
my-
a man in one of those like classic like Russian hats standing back there? Do you see?
Okay, so I have new information. Wait, I have information. Apparently, someone in my chat is saying the creator of these original pictures has been banned from using the Generation app. So they
What?
got banned for life for this. Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Why?
Wait, where'd you see that? Wait, where'd you see that?
Someone
Whoever
in the
said
chat.
that,
Random
Send it.
chatter is saying that.
send me the source person in the chat. I got
There's got a
which
story to
chat?
do.
Which chat?
The
Your chat? Your
yeah,
chat?
my
Lance?
Twitch chat, not the Search.tv one. The Twitch chat. Yeah.
These are just amazing, but yeah.
So I assume he didn't go to jail because I haven't heard.
Not yet.
No.
No.
He's not gonna go to jail. He's if at most
No.
he's not gonna go to jail. At most he
Maybe
gets
indictment for
yeah,
something,
maybe
but he's
get
not going to
indicted, but
be.
he's not gonna go to jail.
We're not
But I
that
like that
lucky.
he's mad about it. I like that he's mad about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That
Because
tickles me.
like my friend, I was on the phone when he was talking about like, yeah, they're getting me on Tuesday or whatever, and I was in Target and my friend was like, ooh, Trump going to jail. I was like, don't tell me that because you're gonna get my hopes up. And she was like, yeah. And then her mom was there and she was like, yeah, he said. I'm like, oh man, I don't care what he say. Like, he always saying some shit.
It's like the one time we hope he's not lying.
Right.
No.
Like, man, you can never do nothing right. Just go to jail.
Oh my god, this video.
And everybody hopes up.
Since we're talking about Trump, I'm curious. Did you all see the video of him walking in the rain with Melania? And it's so romantic. So he has the umbrella and he's holding it over himself while Melania's walking in the rain. It's
Sounds
so,
about right.
Husband of the year.
and they're locked arms, but he's just got the umbrella to himself. It's just, I mean, what a Chad, man. That's
Oh wow.
beautiful.
I
That's
did
what
find
love
it
is.
kind of funny though when he was talking about possibly going to jail that he was like, "Hey, everybody, do that thing that I am possibly going to jail for," which is like stop them
riot.
from saying they can never get to
Activate.
evidence.
That's so funny. Go riot, everyone.
Everybody obstruct justice for me so that
The best thing about that was that, like, I think everyone's burnt out. Like, you saw that. I think the zenith, the peak, was January 6th. That's where everyone, like, you know, all the small business owners had time to jump on buses or, you know, get out of town, all that kind of stuff. No one cares anymore. No one's going to be like, I'm taking a fucking Tuesday off to go protest Donald Trump's arrest. Fuck that noise.
Do
Like,
you?
everyone's done.
I don't know, man.
Really?
If you go on spider climb up the wall for your democracy,
Spider-Man
and
the
then
Capitol
fall, I don't know, man. I think they might. You think they got better things
with
to do?
great power.
You think people that had better things to do were gonna go climb up the wall? No, they're gonna be right there complaining about how the LGBTQ mafia is taking away their gender or whatever and killing the babies.
No fact. No fact.
This one that cracked me up.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
For some reason, Trump's the cop, and then like,
Yeah.
Wow.
screen.
Oh my.
Wow.
But yeah,
So
I
ridiculous.
genuinely believe that it's not even about, to some degree, it's not even about like right versus left. It's so centralized around Trump in particular.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if, again, people who feel like he's, you know, some fallen messiah or whatever, he was supposed to be rightfully there, they'd go. Yeah. And he fosters that kind of thought process. So, which has been kind of refreshing to kind of see in some way, you know, the right kind of arguing or trying to tiptoe around whether or not they should be backing Trump to some degree.
I think it's better for Democrats if Trump wins the nomination. I think DeSantis is
Yes, it absolutely
I think
is.
DeSantis is a better chance in.
It's absolutely better if Trump wins. That's
Yeah,
why,
for sure.
yeah, no, 100%. Because here's the reality: DeSantis, I think, is a far more scary and insidious character, and because people don't know about him, he's not as loud. People aren't politically engaged or whatever on him. People are not. They were not motivated to vote for Joe Biden. They were motivated to vote against. Donald Trump.
Mhm.
So if they have
Yeah.
DeSantis, I don't think they're going to come out in the kind of droves and be as mobilized or as aware to get rid of a character like him, and he's going to be far worse. Versus whereas Trump, people are already like, oh fuck no, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it might not be the same droves it was in 2020, but I still think it will be if it's Trump, people are going to be like, oh, okay. Gotta stop that. So I think so ultimately I think DeSantis is losing this right now to Trump, and I think that's ultimately better for us. So, you know, if Republicans really wanted to get at the bottom of that evil bag, they would get behind their man's DeSantis.
Can we also celebrate the fact that DeSantis made a career out of vilifying queer people, calling them all groomers and pedophiles, and all of a sudden he tried to do that passive aggressive shit with Trump. You can't do passive aggressive with Trump. There's no such thing. That's the only reason that Ted Cruz survived was he went aggressive. You can't be like, oh well, apparently I don't know anything about paying a porn star off. Pretty funny comment, right? And then he's like, you fuck kids. This motherfucker fucks kids.
I gotta find that Truth Social. That was just amazing.
You know, and like, what are you supposed to do? What, like, no, okay,
Donald
all right.
Trump does not believe in proportionality. He does not believe in proportionality. He's like, oh, did you tap me on the shoulder? It'd be a shame if I shot you in the face.
It's like every single attack on DeSantis, like you read it in his voice, and it's like genuinely, objectively hilarious. Where it's like, don't be surprised when a claim about an underage girl or a boy about you comes up, and it's just so fucking funny.
He's sickening.
I'm sitting here questioning though. Both aren't a great decision.
No.
Oh no.
But
Well,
but
there's
one
no
of the
good
things,
decide.
and maybe this is a concern that I have, is that with Trump, we've seen a level of bad sportsmanship, to call it lightly.
Yeah.
And to see that happening again to some degree, I'm curious to what extent a second loss, for instance, could be a bit of a catalyst more so. You know, they already feel like they lost it the first time wrongfully, and for him to lose it again, I mean, probably Civil War. You know, nothing.
Oh, that
Nothing too much.
It's better he
But-
has no power though, right? Like the scary part is them having political power. Like that's
No,
where there's
absolutely.
some real potential damage to be done. Without that political power, it's like there's of course his supporters aren't gonna go quietly into the night. Like there's gonna be something coming to a head at some point over something. But it's I don't know. There's how else do we avoid that? You know what I mean? Like there's no way to just change their mind.
I think either way, it's gonna be ugly. That's kind of like
Yeah,
my
it's gonna be
perspective.
ugly. I guess maybe that's me. I'm trying to sit here. I'm like, what is the least ugly way for this to happen? But at this point, it's so messy already.
Yeah.
It's gonna get rough. It's gonna get hectic. Y'all might as well. Y'all already know it's gonna get hectic. Listen, when Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, hey, you know, she's like, whoa there, hold on now.
I just want to focus on
No,
drag
the alarm
queens
bell
reading
should
for
go off.
children. That's the, like,
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Something's going on.
Yeah, it like they understand. Even they understand what they've emboldened because let's not forget. They were fucking scared. Was it Josh Hawley? Was it Josh Hawley who we saw running for fucking life?
Josh Hawley. For freedom, brothers. Let's liberate the country, brothers. Go. Come on.
That is the funniest shit when you think about it. Really think about this, right, in your life.
How do you live that down?
When in life does anything happen that you just break off running? Like you're not scared in real life? Start running like that is so not a thing at the bottom. So imagine the stare. My man was in a full sprint in dress shoes.
I will say one of the greatest like dark comedy moments was kind of because whenever something chaotic is happening, Twitter is a free for all. Particularly Black Twitter is a mess. I have never laughed so hard in my life. Was the day that they were climbing up the walls and falling off the building, and I saw a tweet that was really hit me at the soul. They were like, I don't think we talk enough about how actually January 6th was also incredibly funny. And it's like, I hate to say that. It was also some of the wildest shit you've ever seen in your life. And I'm like, damn, I hate to admit it, but it actually was. Just watching people literally fall off of walls when they could have took the stairs. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy
it was
to me.
hilarious.
It was embarrassingly American, is what it was.
But I think
Yeah, it's so embarrassing. I remember just getting really drunk and watching it like, what the fuck is going on?
what I think is hilarious is that every single Black guest we've had on this show, unprovoked, unprompted, has commented on the hilariousness of that exact thing. Frederick did, Gabrielle did, Rebecca did. Every single person, including me, on their own was like, hey, January 6th, the stairs, and specifically the stairs. We have laughed about that. That is the justice it's not giving.
Because, like, I don't. Why do people like to climb on shit? I don't understand. And I feel like I've always had that question because whenever you like, I remember one time I was traveling, I was in Korea, and I was drunk on the street just watching people climb up trees, and I was like, "Why? Like, why?" It was like white people from the U.S. came over for vacation, got very drunk, and started climbing on stuff, and it always makes me wonder what is going on. Because climbing is fun. I disagree. Whoever said that, but okay. Maybe
Now that you mention it, Kenny, like I tried to climb a tree when I was drunk one time, so
There
maybe
we
there
are.
is something like.
I swear to God.
I was
Okay,
like, I
making
feel like
everything
white
about
people
race.
sound
I'm
off
gonna
on
do
this
it.
one.
I'm gonna make everything about
We need
race.
to bridge the
real
gap
quick.
on this one.
I'm
This is about
make
race
everything-
relations, everybody. We're gonna explain.
I was trying to avoid it, but I'm gonna make it about race. Every drunk white man I've ever met starts climbing on shit, and I want to
It's
yourself.
It's true.
No, that's
What is,
fine.
sorry, it's the white man's confidence. All right,
I would
we
say
don't have a
that
choice.
y'all
We
reach
don't have a
the
choice.
level of
It's unfair.
exploration.
I feel called out.
Y'all reach the level of exploration that comes from
We don't think there will be
something-
consequences for our actions.
trying to conquer trees. Can't help yourself. Get drunk and start climbing on stuff and try to take it.
Right. You know what makes it so much more incriminating for me? And I don't know if he remembers this, but I made my husband film me, and I watched it the next day, and it was so unimpressive. Like, I just grabbed into the tree, and I like kicked my feet up, and then I just like hung there, and then I just dropped. It's like, but as I was doing it, I'm like, no, you gotta film this. It's gonna be so fucking cool.
No fear of gravity, man. This is what I mean.
Something I've never in my life done. Never in life have I
Never.
started climbing. Nothing.
I've
No.
never gotten higher than I needed to be, and that's what I mean. I'm curious where that comes from. I've conquered.
Because they done conquered everything online. They gotta reach for the sky. Like, no glass ceiling for me.
I should try to find that video. Actually, I know it's on my phone.
Who are we canceling and uncanceling?
First, I just want to quickly bring this up. It took me a long time to find this because Trump goes wild on Truth Social. I don't realize how much he truths out there in Truth Land, but this is how it's like. DeSantis is done. Like this is a,
Oh yeah.
He says here about DeSantis on education. Florida ranks 39th in health and safety in the country, 50th in affordability, 30th in education and childcare. Hardly greatness there. And the fact is, Ron is an average governor. But the best by far is the country in one category, public relations, where he easily ranks #1. But it is all a mirage. Just look at the facts and figures. They don't lie. And we don't want Ron as our president. Like he is, and this is one of many. Like he went, like there's like
seems
10 of
to
these.
have this like hyper focus in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I love, to some degree, I love how transparent his foolishness really is, which is a little concerning that so many people are fooled by Trump. It seems so obvious.
Because they love it. They love the most brazen white supremacists. Who can be the most brazen white supremacist of them all?
Yeah.
All they care about is the alpha in the room. Who's the
That's what it
loudest?
is.
Who criticizes the most? That's you can't. DeSantis can't compete with that. Like there's like so Trump has to be behind bars for DeSantis to win. Like that's the only way.
Says the thing that everyone's thinking, quote unquote, you know, that type of foolishness. But it's just
I just wanted to put a comment on the screen because after David said he truthed, somebody put this up and said he truthed.
He truthed. Are there other people on Truth Social but Trump?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just him. Yeah, it's just him and people who reply to him, and the replies are all
following on Truth Social now. I have 4,000. I have 4,000 followers on Truth Social.
Oh, you're on
you
there?
have 4,000 followers on Truth Social.
Oh, I was like, damn.
No, deadass, I thought
gotta
it was-
get on.
I was like, we might have to cancel you this episode.
No, I deadass thought it was. Isn't it? Okay, this isn't it his app, or is it just like other right wingers in general just wanted something as an alternative to Twitter?
No,
Or
it's
is
his.
his
He's financially he's financially invested in this. Yes.
And this is what I mean. They are so coordinated. They all got over there to complain on the same app.
I'm telling you.
You can't get that many people to switch apps.
No, you damn sure can't. They keep trying to tell me to get on Spout and Spootable and all
Yeah,
that.
people always trying to get me to get on.
You're on Spootable.
Started on
Get on
anything
Spootable.
happening.
Blue and everything. You can't get my ass on nothing else. But they said, hey, they are the what is it? The mainstream media is trying to like silence my loud ass, so I'm gonna make my own app, and they actually went. This is what I mean. They're coordinated. That's why I'm like, don't necessarily underestimate the idea.
Well, they can win a
like,
primary. He can win a primary. He can't win a general like this.
Yeah.
Like this, especially after losing the election last time. Like it's not.
No, there's
not
too
gonna
much
happen.
shit. It's too crazy. Like
I have very
honestly,
little
I
faith
hate-
in America.
I
Maybe
hate-
that's why. I really don't. I don't trust us. I don't trust it. Like I don't.
Trump would let it go. He's really like, it's really annoying. I'm like, cause my guy, you didn't even originally. You were so shocked you won in the first place. You couldn't believe it. How we gone from that to you won't let it go. You already done did it. You did it. You was president. They like impeached you twice, my guy. Like just chill out. Just chill out. You're rich. Go do other shit. Why? Why are you so into this now? Like.
I will say the fallout has resulted in me finding like some cool YouTuber people that were covering like the lawsuits in particular. Shout outs to Legal Eagle because
Legal Eagle's good. I like it.
yeah, I like Legal Eagle. I'm
He's
just
good.
being like a good nerd, just sitting there like, oh man, I could take the LSAT now. I believe in it. Overly so. Didn't study for shit. I got it. I could go to Harvard Law. You know, so it was great following. You know, it gave some sense of security when he was, you know, doing all the lawsuits. Like, we're gonna figure, because particularly I'm in Michigan, so he was trying to sue Michigan for like, you know, voting shit. You know, trying to hide ballots or whatever. And I was just like, please let this not be a real thing that he can base anything off of, which I knew it wasn't, but let's hope he has no legal standing to say anything. And it was just so validating. He's like, absolutely not. He's going nowhere with any of these lawsuits. I was like, oh, okay, good.
So,
all right, should we cancel, uncancel?
Everyone wants us to cancel and uncancel Anna, but I do also like the idea of canceling Anna and then uncanceling a very based white woman at the same time who happens to be Lindsay Ellis. I like that suggestion as well. Lindsay Ellis is pretty awesome and maybe deserves an uncanceling. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Who's Lindsay Ellis?
Who's that?
You did the Omegaverse video, but I don't know much about her cancellation. So
her cancellation that she actually left Twitter for was unfair. It was a misinterpretation of a tweet she had made where people were interpreting it as being anti-Asian, kind of like a racist, where that wasn't the purpose of the tweet. But the backlash was so intense, she was like, fuck this, I don't want to deal with it anymore, and then like deleted Twitter. But it was not a fair, like the people who were going after her for that tweet, there's other things you could have gone after
No
her.
way, that happened on Twitter? Unbelievable.
Yeah. I know. There's other things you could have canceled her, not even canceled her, but like criticized her for, or other takes you could, and she's openly said, yes, those were bad takes. You know, this is my shortcomings as like a white woman, etc. But that was not it. And so that's why I'd say it would be fair to uncancel Lindsay Ellis. But that's just my personal opinion.
yeah,
I follow her, but I don't know who she is or why. I followed her.
I've seen she makes long form content. Well, I think she's officially left YouTube as well. So I wasn't quite understanding what was going on in regards to that. But she makes long form content, and that's what I'm really into these days. Is people that make essentially documentaries.
Yeah.
Oh, this woman has 1.21 million subscribers. That seems like somebody who's doing better than me in life. I don't feel like I can do anything for her. It seems like she's doing all right.
This can't be the standard. This can't be the standard.
Oh, but it is. Wasn't like canceled to me. I don't have a million subscribers anyway. I'm like,
All right, fair enough. Well, I rest my case then.
yeah, no, I guess
I'm out.
yeah, I guess, you know, I think the favor we can do to fans this week is we won't bring charges against any popular beloved white woman commentator. No charges. Normally uncanceled, but it's just leave it alone. We declined to prosecute.
We had a whole
Right,
conversation. You don't have to like, bring that back up again. It's just, that's
yeah. No charges. Yeah.
I should have came prepared though. I have no idea who I would.
Yeah. No. I guess we never have no. I don't know. We need a new running segment.
Yeah, maybe we need to change the segment.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of
Or
our
animal
joke.
facts. Or is that your
There's not
thing?
enough content to feed this.
Me. Fair. Well,
What if we do a segment where if we can't cancel anybody, then we like shout out smaller leftist content creators or journalists or stuff like that? I really like shining a light on these people who are trying so hard with the algorithm fucking them up. You know,
First up, the
tough.
Rational National. He's a really good guy. Does a lot of good YouTube content.
I'll give a shout out to Foreign Man in a Foreign Land, the YouTube channel. He makes amazing videos. They're fucking incredible. He's
Personal
so
friend.
funny, and he's behaving. I know your personal friends. Oh, damn.
Yes.
I would not have assumed that. I think that would have been a little weird for me too.
It's a very tiny
Foreign
island. You should.
Foreign Man in a Foreign Land. He's fucking awesome. I love his videos.
Yes, we love him. Yes, that's my boy. I think he's putting out, me and him have a thing of his show, a video he's putting out like next month or something.
Cool.
Yeah, so foreign. You know who I like? Hold on, let me tell you what it is. I follow a bunch of random y'all know.
Ooh, FD Signifier is great. Whoever shot
He
it.
is great. FD
yeah.
Signifier.
I love FD. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
that guy on YouTube, he does like Degrassi and like those kinds of videos and like shows and stuff and Euphoria, all these kinds of takes. Anyway, that guy is like this. I love him. I love this channel. Very good. And I like, yeah. That's my one I'm going with. That guy.
I want to shout out Kimra Luna from Riot Doll Society. They are a non-binary two-spirit Twitch streamer and abortion activist, and I just discovered them, and they're great. So I just want to give them a shout out.
What's the URL?
It is twitch.tv/Kimra Luna _ KIMRA LUNA. Yeah, it's always fun like discovering new content creators, Twitch streamers. Like I really enjoy like discovering like what the youngsters are saying nowadays, right? Like I'm a boomer in this space, but you know, seeing what the youngins are up to is really nice.
Yes. Okay, so that's what we should do. I like this. I like this.
Shout out other people.
Probably a better tradition.
Yeah.
Canceling people.
Yes.
Although it could be a pitfall because when I first got started, you know, I shouted out people like H.A. Goodman and he went on to become a mega chud. So,
I don't know
you know,
how you ever thought he was not a weird person.
I thought he was weird. I thought that he was weird, but at the same time I thought, okay, maybe he's just a little bit clumsy in the way that he like presents information, a little bit too hyperbolic. No, I need to be more careful. I'll just say that.
To be fair to you though, you helped lift me up at the beginning. Yeah, I think you must have been the first channel I was actually on in an interview, and like, yeah, absolutely.
Mike, like, oh, what a big moment for you and an inconsequential moment for me.
Yeah, Mike's like, what? I forgot about that.
Mike was
and
like,
now look at you, David. You passed me, motherfucker.
I don't know.
No, but your content is good though. Like it's like you produce bangers. Like I watch your shit after I finish my stuff because it's like if I watch your video on a topic that I want to talk about, I can't. Then it's like okay, I'm just gonna end up repeating what you say because you make good points. So I've got to like do my segment and then I could see what other people say.
Absolutely.
If I'm not sick of it, of course, you know, because brain rot.
Absolutely. All right, are we done?
Okay. Yes, thank you so much for coming, Kenny.
Wait, Kenny, can you tell us your socials again one more time?
If you want to find me, I am Kenny JD on most social media. I mostly make videos on YouTube, so check me out there. I'm also like incredibly chaotic on Twitter. I have an Instagram, but I don't post on it very much, so do with that what you will, but I want to try to do it more again.
Time where we riot, that's crazy in the comments. Damn, I really thought I was gonna get away with it. No one said nothing. Oh shit. I guess I'll.
Thank you. Someone said you are funny as advertised. Thank you. I second guess sometimes. Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Subscribe to Illuminati. Watch my episode.